Well, hello. Welcome to a warm and muggy Friday night here, especially here in the UK. Anyway, I don't know what it's like around the west of the world, but it's all getting a bit warm again. And yeah, well, that's awfully British talking about the weather. Welcome. It is Pro Synth Network Live, episode 227, and welcome to the show. Thank you for coming along. If you're watching on catch up, thanks for coming along to see us outside of the live stream. It's always pleasant to know that lots of people do that. And hello to everybody that's in the chat. I'm not going to go through all the names, there's so many of you there, but we will pick out a few as we go through. Before we get on with anything else, let's first of all get all the housekeeping stuff out of the way. And we'll do this first of all. So if you haven't watched us before, welcome. Give us a subscribe, that'll be nice. And if you could give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down during the show, that helps with the algorithms and stuff. So can you just turn your head so your headphones aren't pointing into the microphone, because I can hear myself back.
Do beg your pardon. I have
it's okay.
Such a beautiful, efficient studio now.
Except for the headphones.
Yeah, apparently.
If you haven't subscribed, please do leave a comment. If you want to comment during the show, do so in the chat, whether you're watching on YouTube, Twitch or Facebook. We no longer broadcast to Twitter because Space Karen wants to charge us to do that, and we're coming off there anyway because, well, you know, stuff. So yeah, if you want to talk to us through those mediums, you can, but what we'd like you to do, if possible, is put a big capital Q in front of your question so that we can see it, and then we pick it out, put it into a pot, and pull them out of the hat later on. So you could do that, that'd be fantastic. And if you know somebody who doesn't watch the show and you think that they should, then please do share the link around. It'd be most appreciated. We are completely funded by you lovely lot, and you do that in the main by supporting us on our Patreon page, patreon.com/ProSynth Network. And for a minimum of $2 a month, you get the pleasure, the warm fuzzy feeling of keeping this channel going, and it's all your fault. But also you get free stuff, and we've been putting some new free stuff on there just lately. For example, we've been putting up, let me just get the page up here, and we'll share this one, and we'll throw it onto the screen. He says, does he? Yes, there it is. There's our Patreon page, and look, there's new video content. There's a Sonicware ELZ1 Play demo from our very own Andrew Longhurst. We've put all of the pre-existing shorts that we had on there. There's about half a dozen PolyBrute 12 demos, so if you want to hear what that sounds like in the hands of a klutz, i.e. me, then please go and check those out, and they're all ad-free on Patreon. If you watch them on YouTube, you're bound to get some ads around it. So if you've paid already with Patreon, you get that stuff without having to worry about any adverts. So there's plenty of content, and of course there is other things. If I whiz down here, so hopefully nobody gets motion sickness, we've got free patches for Cherry Audio synths and the Cobalt 8 by Modal. We've got JDXI patches, we've got Modwave stuff, we've got Hydrasynth stuff in there. So if you are a paid up Patreoner, then you get all of that thrown in for just a mere $2 a month, whatever that equates to in your local currency. You could also join us on YouTube as a member, and it's the same price. It's a minimum $2. Of course, I say minimum. You can pay whatever you like above that, but we just do the basic minimum, and you will still get all the freebie content on there that you get if you're a patron. So you don't have to subscribe to both, but I know some people do, and we love them for doing so. So thank you for doing that. We also have, in the last few days, we've joined TikTok. Get us with, we're down with the kids and all that. I was inspired by our friend Ian Cole, who said he's been posting some videos, and they've been getting hundreds and thousands of views and likes and all this kind of stuff. So I thought, well, I'll give that a go. And so we set up our own TikTok page, and shall we just say that maybe Ian's doing something a little bit different to the rest of us, because I threw up all the shorts videos, and I think our most popular one has got 54. and we've got one follower and one like, and I know exactly who that is. That's Ian. So if you are on TikTok, and I know that a lot of the young people are, we'll put more stuff on there, I'm sure, but I thought I'll give it a go, and maybe I'm just doing it wrong, maybe I'm not tagging things correctly, or I don't know, but we're there, so we thought we'd give that a try. So if you are a TikToker, you can give us a follow on there, and of course we are on across all the other social media networks. We are going to drop X very soon anyway, but we're on Instagram and Threads and Facebook and all that stuff. So if you want to follow us on social media, we're all over those sorts of things as much as we can be for an amateur synthesizer video podcast type thing. Anyway, thank you for joining us. We will let's have a look. Have we got any? Let me just, first of all, before we go to my co-hosts, I just wanted to say a big thank you to Ben Musings, to Andy Brooks. I think I saw him in there earlier, and if he's around, to Andy Synth Addict, who are our moderators in the chat. They do a wonderful job of making sure that naughty people are dealt with in a swift and fair fashion. They also like to throw all the links of the stuff that we're talking about into the chat so that you can click on them and view those as you will. So thank you very much for that. And if you're watching on catch up, we used to do chapters, and it just got to a point where it was just like it was taking so much time to go back and chapterize things. And I know I could automate that process, but again, I just can't be bothered. So if you're watching the show on catch up, just open up the live chat replay and you'll see the links in the live chat replay, and you can click on those there. So it kind of does the job for us in a way, sort of thing. Anyway, that's enough of me waffling on for the last 10 minutes. You can tell it's a slow news week because we are filling time. But let's fill time first of all by greeting our one and only, the best synth tech in the world, Kent Spong.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Is that dragging it out enough?
Yeah, just...
Okay. Yes, good.
Good.
Yeah, interesting week. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, now's a good time to tell everybody that Tuesday's pub was the last one. I suppose, isn't it? Yeah, so interesting week. Most of it in here, fighting stuff, Sonoma support, etc., and things like that. So I mean, happy goals.
Good stuff. Yeah. Excellent.
I added something to the modular. Do you want to have a look?
Oh, go on then. Did you bin it? No? Okay.
Come with me, camera.
Come with... Oh, he's plugged cables in. He's made it look like he's using it. What you got up there? That's...
You've got a...
I have a Minimoog racked.
A racked... An actual Minimoog?
Behringer.
An actual Minimoog.
What?
Mm.
Show
us again. Show us again.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's just... You've just disconnected it from the keyboard and...
Yeah. Yeah. There's a reason for it. It's long-winded and blah, blah, blah. But there you go. She's up there. And I've been on the phone to a very nice gentleman at Elevator Sounds. Mm-hmm. Those of you who know Elevator Sounds will know what I was talking to him about. So, yeah. So an interesting week. Basically, no more pubs for now. Sorry. Yeah.
Sorry, I just had to stretch the other side of the studio. Sorry, came away from the mic. Oh, yes, well, okay. Maybe we'll talk about that later. But welcome, as always.
It's slow this week.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Maybe. Let me bring in the other co-host that you might have heard. Sounds like he's in the toilet. And that's no way to describe his office facilities. Mr. Andrew Longhurst. He says he's got no sound. Shall I edit that for you?
Thank you. How is that? I hope you can all hear me. I'm afraid I've got clients in today, the other side of this wall, doing voiceovers, so they've stolen all my headphones all the mics that I would normally use for this, so it's going to be what it is. I hope you can hear me. I've got
It is what it is. But yeah, you're the only one that's repping the shirt, so we'll let you off for that.
Am I the only one that's got a PSN thing, though? That's what I want to know.
A PSN thing?
Yeah.
What's a PSN?
display of PSN-ness.
Oh, yeah, because I've got my Cherry Audio shirt and I couldn't be bothered to change. I know that sounds awfully lazy. But
PSN thing sounded like something you needed a cream for.
Yeah. The thing is, most of the time, because I have to bring the lens in, it doesn't matter what I'm wearing, you're never going to see the logo. But yeah, look, there you go. I've got my Cherry Audio. Yeah, the Mr. Beatbox Cherry Co.
I did have my Cherry CR78 one on. But that's in the wash as well now. So this was the nearest thing I could find that represented me.
It's red and black.
Well, there you go.
And you are a smeg.
Smeg.
Yes.
All right, darling.
Anyway. We've got somebody else in the studio that I just want to quickly bring in, if I can. I'm gonna let me turn the light off because then you can see the lovely message. Look what I got.
Slightly different from the other message you had on it.
It was, yeah. And I didn't think about my spacing that well. I should have made it a little lower so that the end doesn't look a little bit off.
Yeah.
But yes, look at that.
All right.
MatrixBrute Noir. And you can just see the wave.
Very, very pretty.
Oh, do you know, it is amazing. It's so good. I knew it would be pretty damn good because everyone told me. But yeah, it is nice. Very nice.
I thought it was wider.
It's quite wide. It's almost as wide as the Juno that it has usurped on top of my M1RX and Rev 7 there, which just kind of sit as a bit of a bass.
Yeah, I suppose it would be if it was 5 octave, I suppose, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but it is. I mean, it's 4 octave, but you've got the pitch bend, the mod, which is just out of shot there because my camera
that goes quite wide as well. Yeah,
but then you've got the macros and the other bits as well, and I have to put the thing up, otherwise it's too deep for that thing. So yeah, it's
you just wanted something that sat up and begged.
I did. I can't lie. I can't lie.
So do I.
But once you do, you won't go back, I tell you.
I know.
I'm with him on it. I want to sit up and beg. Yeah.
Yeah. It does. Actually, the whole family have been in and going, "Oh, look at that." They don't normally do that, but because that's got that presence to it. But boy, oh boy, does it sound really cool. Which is, of course, the most important thing. So, yeah. Lots.
No waffle here tonight.
No waffle at all. So, yeah, there you go. That's new. That actually came through. I couldn't believe it. It got sent and it got stuck in customs, but it got stuck in there for just 24 hours. And they, at the moment, they've not told me. They delivered it and they didn't say that there's going to be a charge. So, thankfully, it has wiggled its way through customs as it should do because it's not a chargeable thing. And yeah, there we go. So expect to hear that maybe in some PSN shorts coming up this way at some point soon.
Yeah.
There we go. So we can take that away. There you go. And I'll just sit there overheating the room for the next couple of hours. But there we go. Anyway, I've done something. What have I done with this microphone? I can't see the questions as they come through. Right, so have we had any questions? Yes, we've had Wagyu. When's Robbie doing the Baby Metal Give Me Chocolate Dance Challenge? Yeah, that would be fun. No, there would be none of that stuff going on, and that's probably why we'll still stick at one follow-up and one like. I had the misfortune of when I was signing up, finding all of these videos, and I was like, so I'm clearly too old for that stuff. Wookie wants to know what the patch sounds like with that matrix setting. That's actually the sequencer, so it would just be something like that. If I could reach, I'd press play and see what it does. That'd be interesting.
Could have saved yourself a fortune. Just do that into a microphone.
Yeah. Could have done. Anyway, should we talk about some synth related stuff?
Is there some?
I heard somebody say yesterday that they'd heard a rumor, and I had to laugh heartily, that apparently Arturia are only doing a single run of the PolyBrute 12, and then they're giving up on it because the Moog Muse came out.
Except the single run's probably going to go for about 5 years, and they're going to make about 150,000 units.
Well, I already know the next batch
That's
is in. The next batch is coming out of the factory and is going to be in shops next month. So.
Oh, okay.
Well, yes. So there you go. Don't believe everything you hear on the internet, is what I say, except what you hear on this show, because we verify and fact check.
About 20 years too late.
Yeah.
I'll say that I am more persuaded now, for all sorts of reasons, that the the PolyBrute 12, is what I will get over the Muse.
Yeah.
I love the Muse too, but if I've got to choose between them for its performance capabilities, it's that puppy right behind Robbie, the PB12.
Well, there's a guy called Sanjay on YouTube and Simon Tucker, who was in the chat a moment ago, I saw, sent me the link to this video, and he's lucky sod, he's got one of each side by side, and he does this really nice comparison video, and he goes into detail on each, and he's not pitting them against each other. He's just saying this does this and this does this, and they both do this, but this one only does that and this one only does that, and it's a really good comparison video, just to sit down and understand. Guy is very slick video production, but he knows what he's talking about, and he's got both of them there in front of him. And I came away from that video thinking, I'm very lucky to have one of those, and I really do want the other one as well.
Yeah.
But they're different. They're different beasts for different. They do things differently. They also do a lot that's the same. But
it brought to mind, there was a discussion on the PSN Facebook channel thingy. Someone had done a video which essentially claimed that all synths sound the same. They can all do the same things, and it was an interesting discussion. It went on for a long time, but no one mentioned the most important thing, which is I can make most synths sound like most others, sort of do an impression of. So if it's an analog synth, it's going to have oscillators, and so you can do. But that's not the point. The point is each synth behaves differently in the hands of the person creating the sound. They connect with the person using them differently. So the kinds of articulations that are on the PB and that are on the M8X, which is normally here, those things make it, for me, a synthesizer like no other. That I can make it sound like others and others sound like it, but there's nothing quite like it in terms of playing. And that's the bit that people miss. Synthesizers are different and do have adherence because of the way people can use them to create. That's what it's about. Almost forget everything else.
Yeah. I mean, when I had the PolyBrute 6, within a sort of a few weeks, I was trying to see if I could make it sound like other things, because people were talking about the Brute oscillators being, having a certain sonic character that maybe some people didn't like. And I thought, well, I wonder if I can make it sound like, I don't know, a Prophet 5. So I don't have a Prophet 5 here. So I fired up a Prophet 5 plugin and found a patch and tweaked it so that it resembled the recording of a song, where I knew that patch was on there, and I got it as close as damn it. I then tried to replicate that on the PolyBrute 6, and I got pretty damn close. So one could say, well, there you go, the PolyBrute 6 can sound like a Prophet 5. And yet, in many instances, neither can sound like the other one, depending on how you use it. And that's all down to the individual user. So I saw the video that you mentioned, and I thought, well, here you go, clickbait.
Yeah.
And they have a point. Yes, a lot of synthesizers, but there's a lot of synthesizers out there that don't sound like anything else, because they simply can't. their architecture, their synth engines are so different that but you buy what you use, what you can afford, what gives you the performance capabilities or feature sets that really appeal to you. Or maybe it's just you've only got a couple of £100, so you have to buy that
and make the best use of
and
it.
you make the best of it. And
Which is great.
I've said 100 times, I once only had a Roland sound canvas, and yet with tweaking it and using various tricks, I could make it sound pretty much however I wanted it to, because that's all I had, so that I didn't have a choice. Then of course you start building up your synth collection, you have choice paralysis and you can't make your mind up what you want to use, and then you make nothing for ages. Anyway, rants. Oh, there's the first rant. We should have a section title for that.
We should.
The opening rant.
I'm going to make one more observation, which is just in case I may have to drop out at some point.
Okay.
Because of the clients, and they may walk in the door over here and go, and I'll have to, just do my thing at that point.
As long as they're wearing clothes, that's fine.
Yeah, I'll take the clothes off and do the dance that I normally do for clients. But so I may go dark for a little while and then get dressed. Who knows?
Yeah. Cool. All right then. Lovely. Let's talk about some relevant stuff, shall we?
Really?
Where shall we start? Oh, I don't know. I think we've got to just start with this because, well, just because. Bonkers, absolutely bonkers, brilliantly bonkers. The budget for that video alone, I mean, it was only about a minute long, but there was some good stuff going on there. Teenage Engineering have done it yet again. They have just thrown another curveball, even further left field than anything they've probably done before, and they've dropped a new version, shall we say, of the EP133, which came out a little while back, which was this lovely kind of giant calculator looking type sampler thing. And now they've done, for whatever reason, a medieval version of it. So this is just I don't know. I mean, it's bonkers. I love it. I think it's great. The detail. I mean, all of the nomenclature on the surface here is all Old English or Latin. Look at this, the lovely scripting on the A, B, C, and D keys. The brown buttons, I kid you not, and this is genuine. The brown buttons smell of chocolate. That's a fact. They smell of chocolate. Look at the design of the LED screen as well. I mean, aside from the little kind of cartoon graphics, just the numbers as well have that kind of oldie worldy scripty kind of look. So it's apparently they're calling it the world's first medieval electronic instrument, which I suppose is fairly true. It's essentially a groove box, if you will, and it's just been chock full of medieval style samples, including hurdy-gurdies, lutes, Gregorian chants, drums, percussion, Foley effects, and other things. And this has all been crammed into an EP133 style case. It samples at the odd number of, is it 40? I'm just scrolling down here. 46 point something kilohertz 16-bit. I don't quite know. Yeah, 46.875 kilohertz. If somebody can tell us why that is, what is does that? I just don't. I don't understand. I mean, I know EMU always used to use slightly odd sample rates, but there you go. It's got all of the features that you'd expect on one of these things. So 24-bit DACs, sync, MIDI in, MIDI out, effects. You've got 96 megabytes of built-in samples and then 32 megabytes for user samples. I mean, you look at the effects. You've got Dungeon Echo, Bardic Ensemble, Torture Chamber Reverb, Medieval Punch-in Pocus, whatever that is, Dimension Expander, Medieval Segment Display, cocoa scented pads. I think it's just brilliant. I really do. And it's $299. There's also, of course, the accompanying range of accoutrements. For £100, you can have a medieval quilt bag to put your medieval unit in. They've even released a 10-inch vinyl record with loads of medieval samples that you can sample into your EP. There's T-shirts, there's key rings, and of course there's the original 133 KO as well. Look, I mean, I'm not in the business of making medieval music, but somebody did say to me the other day that during COVID there was a group that kind of gathered some momentum online who were just making, medieval style music with medieval style samples. So maybe somebody in Sweden was smoking something around the same time. I mean, look at this video. It's just bonkers. Gentlemen, what are our thoughts on this? Who wants to go first?
Kent.
Damn them, they've made something I can't really make fun of. Because it's already doing it. No, yes, because as we all know, being very well educated people, that there wasn't a great deal of chocolate knocking about in the early 15th century. But other than that, yeah, it's pretty, because that the sample rate of 46,000, what was it?
870 something, yeah.
Is the square root of 1,500. So, I'm kidding, it's not. I
was about to get my calculator out and check your figures.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Me and maths, come on. Yes, so, I have trouble counting how many cylinders my cars have got. So, yes, I bet they're really pissed off that Game of Thrones has finished, but this is exactly the sort of thing. Yeah, but this is exactly the sort of thing that the TV guys are going to eat this up. The guys that do music for TV and stuff like that.
Yeah, I suppose.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's going to make life a lot easier for them, definitely. The sounds are interesting. You can do all sorts. With it. It's just, I don't know, it's crazy. The one thing I did like about it was that its price point. It didn't have the Teenage Engineering price point on it.
No, just like the predecessor.
Holy crap, how much? Are you serious, dude? Kind of thing. That's really quite reasonable. To be honest with you, a lot of for me personally, a lot of the 15th century, 14th, 15th, 16th century instruments, just a wonderful bonfire. I hate them personally. But yes, people will find use in this, and
sure they will.
There's a lot of stuff that keeps coming out, and it sounds like everything else, and blah blah. So here you go. Something doesn't really sound like anything else that's come out recently. There are medieval instrument sample libraries.
Yeah.
But then you're tied down to a computer with quite a fair sized hard drive with it as well. So you can now go and sit on a park bench and pretend to be Henry VIII and tell people to yay verily and go shake themselves or whatever, or just throw mud at them.
Well, I was going to say, what needs to happen is people need to be going out and buying Monty Python and the Holy Grail soundtrack album and then sampling that in to this.
Samples. I've got all of them.
There you go. That's what you. If people don't do that with this, I will be hugely disappointed.
The video, The video, it's incredibly creative, but it really is it. I'm not quite sure. There was at least one shot in there where I go, have they have they flown to Iceland to film that one shot? Because it really looked like Iceland for a minute.
Is that the one where they're standing in like? Hang on
And
a
I
minute.
don't mean the frozen food shop up the high street. No, it's the one where the ground is very dark. This is, not that one.
No, this is just a highlights thing.
I think it was the one with the fire.
I mean, you're just waiting for the nights who say Nick to come out.
well, exactly. You go. So he goes, how much? What sort of sound does it do? He's going, only a model. So, yeah, it is a silly product, and I love it. It's
very silly, and it's very good.
But I love it because it is stupid. It is. It's just mental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you reckon, Andrew?
I like it.
It's so daft. It is so daft. But it's redeeming itself by being daft. I'll never buy one. Let's just put that out there. There's nothing on it I don't already have. But what's interesting, what's really interesting, going back to, I don't know if any of you know, I used to work for e-News. I don't know if I've probably never mentioned.
I don't think you mentioned that before.
I don't think I've mentioned that before.
No.
But we made a freaking fortune. Do you see that rack over there? There's 3 modules. We made an absolute fortune by using the same hardware and then just putting a different ROM in it, putting a different color panel on the front and calling it something else. So we have Planet Earth, MoFat, XL7, blah, blah,
Orbit,
blah, 3. All of them had different front panels. And guess what? Every single one of them sold like hotcakes. So much so that we were selling more of those romplers than Roland were at the time. And Roland was a cheaper proposition because you bought as it was then, a 1080 or a 2080, and you put some cards in. You could do the same with EMU. You could put these additional cards in, but everyone was going out and buying the next module. And we were scratching our heads going, why? And our marketing guys are going, shut up, just get. That's what this is. They've repackaged something very cleverly. I think the video is bonkers. It's almost worth the price of admission.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's brought joy to my life. It's made me smile. I'll never buy one, but I think it's a brilliant thing for them to have brought out. And at $299, why not?
Exactly. Yeah. And apparently, it's Lego Technics compatible, so you can build bits onto it and build a stand for it that will clip into. It's Lego. It's very clever. I've got to say. I mean, they have produced some stuff where people have gone, why? Or that's stupidly expensive for something that's so impractical. But this is actually
think about the
really
whole
good.
Minecraft thing and the Warcraft.
Building.
And then the Lego versions of all of those. This is hitting a market that people will buy it, and at that price, why wouldn't you? Apart from me, because I've already got.
There's not many samplers that could possibly suffer from the Black Death. And I'll have to get a pot of red paint so I can paint a red cross on it when it goes. It's broken.
So I reckon. I reckon for their next one. I mean, if this is the path they're going down, I reckon the next one should be a spaghetti western one. Because
there is a spaghetti western library.
Exactly. That stuff is pretty popular. So can you imagine the baritone guitars and the whip cracks?
If they did that with all the the Morricone strings and all that kind of thing,
I would literally buy that straight away.
I'd buy it.
Yeah.
As soon as it came out.
If Teenage Engineering are watching, which they're probably not, because judging by this, they're stoned out of their gourds, then.
And the buttons must have got a smell of horse's ass.
Oh yeah. Or really bad tobacco.
By the way, 1320. It's called the 1320. Yes.
Yes, it's the EP 1320 Medieval. To give
right, 1320. Edward II was still on the throne.
On the throne.
He was really constipated, wasn't he?
He was. He was terrible. He was by the end.
Well, actually, at 1320 today, I was probably on the throne too.
Now you're dead.
Yeah, he's not dead yet. Certainly smells like it.
I feel better. I feel happy.
Smells of chocolate. Buttons that smell of chocolate. Yes.
Brilliant. Well, apparently there was
My puppy.
I saw some explanation. They I think it was it Anderton?
There's an explanation.
Yeah, no, seriously. Apparently,
Go for it.
There was something to do with 3 brown things. One that goes into you, one that comes out of you, and something else. You'll have to go watch the. I'm sure it was Anderton's did a video where they got one of the UK distributors to come and show them this, and they explained it. So they couldn't make it the thing that goes out of you. So they made it the thing that went into you, which was chocolate. Apparently, I don't know. I think it's just brilliant. It's very clever.
It smells of chocolate. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So spaghetti western. That's my choice. What else could they do? That's
that is a goodie. Well, there's going to be a Vangelis something.
Well, I don't know. I think that's a bit too.
Yeah, but no one's done a whole thing just Vangelis. So no one's done that.
It could be considered a little bit niche, really.
Yeah.
I suppose the sitcom. The whole American and or British sitcom sounds.
Could be, yeah.
But that's already kind of been covered by Sonic.
Star Wars version?
Yeah,
as Andrew Brooks has just said.
Lo-fi things.
Oh, I hate it when the thing just scrolls up just as I'm about to click on the thing. Yeah, I don't care. Whatever it was, it will be bonkers and it will be brilliant. But I think spaghetti western would be a really good one to do. Because that's a big genre that I think a lot of people could get a lot of mileage out of.
I think you've probably hit it. There'll be marketing departments around the world that are going, what?
Yeah.
Spaghetti western?
Yeah.
Well, they'll probably get old Clint to do the advertising video for it.
Yeah. Actually, no. What they need to do is get Bud Spencer and Terence Hill. They used to do the Trinity movies.
Yeah,
that's what they want, and they want the badly dubbed stuff. I mean, I'm pretty sure at least one of those is still alive. I think Terence Hill is still alive. I'm not sure.
I think Terence is still going. No,
I mean, obviously that wasn't their real names because they're 2 Italian actors, but that was their their Hollywood stage name.
Yeah, and we'll call him Bud. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Anyway, really. That's the Teenage Engineering, brilliantly bonkers EP1320 Medieval Electronicus Instrumentalis, and it's available now for £299 UK pounds or €349, I think is the conversion. Or you might be able to get it cheaper depending on where you buy your equipment from. But yeah, that's great.
Sonicware should do it.
Well, I don't know. Sonicware have got their own little thing.
But lo-fi, the whole spaghetti western thing.
Well, yeah,
it will work.
You could do that already, yeah, with both. Well, they've got 3 lo-fi products, so yeah, it'd be interesting. Anyway, that is Teenage Engineering's brand new instrument. Thank you for that. It is very clever.
Approves of this message.
Indeed. Let's see, what else have we got that we can talk about. Help if I hit the right bloomin' buttons. Right, let's see. Oh, here we go. This one's an interesting little teaser that came out a few days ago. I wonder if this will come to anything. Short and sweet, big red knob. Are we potentially looking at either a new hardware version or maybe a plug-in version of the Waldorf Microwave? Or, as if you're into posh cooking, the Microwave. As what's her face? What's ex-Chancellor's daughter? Nigella Lawson. She calls it the Microwave.
Yeah.
Anyway, microwave. What do you reckon? I've never played with a microwave, unless it's the one in my kitchen. God, these jokes are just going to carry on, aren't they?
I've got a big red knob.
Hey.
In the workshop. I saved it for Ben, didn't I?
You did, yeah. You need to stick it in the post.
Okay.
So, yeah. I don't know. Is there a demand for the microwave now? Because Wasn't the Waldorf M supposed to be kind of like the 21st century version of a microwave on steroids, or such?
I'm surprised. I mean, what I was expecting was for them to do something which had elements of everything they've done and called it the Waldorf salad.
Oh, God.
I wish I had that button working. I don't know. I mean, what this made me think of is that we've mentioned these guys in the past. I think they go under the name of The Usual Suspects, but they have a website called the DSP 56300 emulation blog. It fair rolls off the tongue. But they've been emulating old hardware synths of the 90s that all use this Motorola DSP chip, the 56300. And there are a bunch of potential options. And have a look. What can you see here? They've already done the Access TI, the Virus TI, and the Virus A, B, and C. They've also done the Waldorf Micro Q, which is this one in the bottom left-hand corner, what they call the Vavra. And in the top right-hand corner is the Xenia, which is a Microwave XT, which is currently in development. And I think I might have a video. I'll leave that there because that does go on for a while, but it's a really nice demo of that, and it kind of gives you a flavour of what those machines were all about. But there is a list somewhere, I think maybe on another page of this website, I can't remember where it is, where they list the stuff that they are attempting to emulate. I think the Nord lead is the next one, because that was another synth that used this DSP chip. But Xenia is already in beta. So we could be seeing that. So maybe Waldorf have kind of got wind of this and thought, oh, we better get our own thing out there. But that's all we know. I mean, they've just put this little teaser video up on their website, so we don't really know what's going on with this. But I don't think... I mean, I know UVI did some sample libraries for stuff featuring a number of these Waldorf instruments. I think the XT was in there. I'm not sure if the microwave was. I'm pretty sure it probably was. But I'd go for one of these, wouldn't you? Hardware or even if it was a plug-in. Don't all rush, you know.
No, the answer is yes. I love the sounds of the XT. I just think it does so much. It covers, we were talking about things covering a lot of ground. I think it does cover a lot of ground, but still has its own unique identity. So you can kind of mix and match and do all sorts of stuff with it. It suits the kinds of things, especially the arpeggiating and sequencing, that kind of stuff. It suits it really well. So yeah, I'd be really interested in this. And looking at what they've done before, they've done it really well. So yeah, absolutely.
This is the list of devices that use this chip, this DSP chip, the 56300 series chip. As you can see there, the Nord Lead 2X is in development. They could possibly do the micro modular, the modular in the Lead 3. Novation Nova and Supernova, the Korg MS2000, the Korg Micro Korg. Obviously the Access viruses have all been done and the Micro Q has been done, and as we're seeing, the Microwave 2 stroke XT is in development, along with the Qs being researched. So there's plenty of options there, some really interesting things. It's nice to see this digital stuff. They might come a little bit unstuck with the Korg things, because I mean, obviously Micro Korg is still a thing. Clavier might not be too happy. I don't know.
The Richard might not be terribly pleased, but
yeah, well, true. The thing is, and this is the way they kind of get around this, is that they develop the emulators. You, as a user, have to supply the firmware. Now, most of the time, the firmware is not usually that accessible, but if you look around the internet nowadays, you can find it, and certainly with the virus stuff, it's pretty sort of common out there. So that's the way they get around the legality of it. So, yeah, interesting stuff. But back to Waldorf. I'm quite happy for them to release a new plugin, but I really want them to revisit the PPG Wave plugin. I know I say this every time we talk about Waldorf. The UI on that is prehistoric. It's like this big on my screen, and even on an average screen, it's still way too small. So sort that out first, and then come up with the new stuff. But yeah.
Well, they're kind of at the point now where doing it might be worthwhile, because for the longest time they were suffering from all of their work being cracked and available as wares. So now that everything's moved on, they could do a lot more, and it may have a more receptive audience that will actually buy it. But, you know, do they want to do it themselves or give it to someone else to do?
Yeah.
You know, that's where people like this, it could be something where they might want to collaborate with these kinds of guys to get something out there, or release a new piece of hardware. Affordable, that would be good.
An affordable piece, yeah, because they're not cheap, the old Waldorf synths, but they are very good. I mean, I've never played one, but everyone that I've spoken to that has one loves them. So yeah, well, we shall see. We'll report more on that as and when we get more information.
Ted's gagging for one. You can see. Look at that. Look at him. He can't wait. Where do I
Drilling
start?
out both sides.
There was a point in my life where I gave up music completely and sold everything and had no interest in music at all, and wasn't going to go back to it. And that's pretty much around the time that all this stuff came out. And I know next to nothing about any of them.
No.
So yeah, and then I come back in, what was it, 2003, 2004, something like that. And, you know, and then rejoined, you know, the human race again, as it were. And, well, seriously. And, yeah, so all of this is sort of like, the only time I see these things is when they come in, people go, it won't work. I go, yeah, I know, bye. Because there's not a lot you can do with them. When, you know, some of the harder to find ICs pop their pants. So admittedly, the more emulations there are of them knocking about, the better. Because hardware doesn't last forever, my friends.
It does not. And Waldorf have a reputation. Yeah. And Waldorf have a reputation of building expensive doorstops.
Yeah.
Indeed.
We kept the door open on a warm day.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we did. Anyway, keep your peepers peeled on that one, the Waldorf website, and I'm sure it'll be reported widely, including in this very parish. We will talk about it if there's something to talk about. There is something new to talk about from Behringer. I guess we must cover this because, you know, we don't know when it's coming. It's a prototype, but everyone's talking about this one. There's no video footage, but they have announced an Oscar clone, and they're calling it the POLYOSC because, of course, it's going to be polyphonic. This is all we know about this thing. There it is. It's in a mini keys format, which, you know, I'm not entirely sure if that's a good thing or not, but it's a prototype, so maybe this is just a smaller form factor for testing. And and there's, of course, the original, which was it's deceptive because I always thought that the Oscar was quite a small thing, and then I actually saw one, and it's a bulky bugger. It is quite a chunk. But yeah, that's the POLYOSC. We don't know really anything.
Sorry. What the hell is going on with those keys around the B, C, and D of the second octave?
Oh, what?
Yeah, there.
That's just light reflection.
Is it?
Looks like strip lighting. Yeah, looks like just strip lighting reflection in the keys.
Looks like the moulding had failed.
Oh, it could be. Well, could well be that. I mean, it doesn't look like it's got all of the controls of the original for sure. I don't know.
It looks like the cheapest, shittiest synthesizer birthday cake anyone would ever make. That's what it looks like. I think it does.
It'll depend on what it sounds like.
I thought the pitch bend and mod areas looked interesting. These kind of little recesses rather than like touch thing. Yeah, it's and these buttons and everything. There's a lot of arturia about that in terms of the naming and the fonts and the button shapes and everything.
I must admit, when I saw it and the font, the knobs, the type of knobs they've chosen, God, that looks like my controller.
Well, I was going to ask. I didn't know whether I'd get a punch in the face. What if this was TouchOS compatible?
Well, it depends on. Yeah, I mean it is. Well, the whole point of my controller is it's not just for the Imposca.
True.
It's a CC controller. You can plug it into fucking anything. I think you can turn on street lights with it if you want. If it receives CC, it will control it.
Yeah.
That does look like an awful birthday cake, though, doesn't it? I mean, I had an Oscar years and years. Well, I didn't have one. I had access to one. I used it a lot, and it used to really piss me off knocking my fingers on the raised sections between each of the control parts, as it were. But it sounded amazing, and you just you fell in love with it, and that was it. It's a very unique thing. And the way it was laid out was very unique. This doesn't have any of that. I'm not, right, so it's polyphonic. There's already POLYOSC sort of things out there.
Yeah.
Software, I'm not quite sure. Yeah, birthday. If you gave me that as a birthday cake with candles on it, I wouldn't eat it. And I eat any cake. I don't care.
Let's just say this. It is a prototype, so. So therefore, it's a prototype that's been announced in August of 2024, which means that we probably won't see it until maybe December 2029, given the typical gestation period of Behringer prototypes. But look, well,
by the way, this isn't me being anti-Behringer, because we've kind of gotten over ourselves on that. They've done some reasonable, whatever their policies and their, whatever your standpoint is, I don't care. They do actually turn out some decent stuff, and they've offered the world another way to engage with synths. Fine. But this still looks like a cheapest, shittiest birthday cake for a synthesizer player in the world. That's what it looks like.
Well, we shall see, I guess.
I mean, for those who were watching the pub on Tuesday, Robbie knows this, when I was trying to use the System 55, and we were having troubles with getting the CV, the pitch CV to come out as S-Trig for the envelope generators, and was having all sorts of trouble. And lots of people in the chat were saying, "No, you should be plugging it in there. You should be doing this." What it turned out to be is the interface panel. If you give it a really hard slap, everything started working the way it was supposed to. So it clearly has a dry joint, and it's not that old. But there's an awful lot of noise comes out of it, and when I took the panel off to see if I could see where the dry joint is, the power supply is directly behind it.
Oh my God.
So I'm going to move the interface panel, because audio power supplies
not good.
No. So I'm going to move that. I'm going to reconfigure all this so it actually works better.
Yeah. No, it's look, what can you say? It's a prototype. We don't know anything about it other than it's something that's in development, and we know what it's based on, and we're just going to have to wait and see what it sounds like and whether it sticks into that form factor or not.
Yeah.
By the way, Behringer, if you're in the US, Behringer apparently have got a a massive sale on. And when you think about it, you know, up to 50% sale on some of their items, which means that there's a lot of stuff going for not a lot of money. But I don't think that's being done over here anyway. Certainly not in the UK. Probably. Yeah, this is true. Yeah, this is very true. It could be just like, get everyone ragging on them, and then they'll come and say, "Here you go."
It won't be $299 though.
No.
Yes, there you go. Anyway, so Behringer POLYOSC, potentially coming at some point in the future. There's my colleague at Gear News, Adam, has done a post and he updates it on Gear News, which lists every single Behringer product that they have announced and has as many pictures and information about the timescales. So if you want to kind of get up to speed, just go and search for the Behringer list over on gearnews.com, and you should get all the latest information. And I'm sure he'll be adding this if he hasn't already at some point. We'll wait and see on that one. Shall we? Now, Ken, I know you put you said you put some money down on this, but then I was told that you couldn't have because apparently the system wasn't working. But it is now because the Dubrec Stylophone Theremin is now available to order for $99.95. Let's watch a little video because it's been sort of out of our view for a little while. So let's remind ourselves what the Stylophone Theremin is. There we go. That's the Stylophone Theremin. It looks a lot of fun. It's $99.95. You can wave your hands around, or you can use the pitch slider. What was the one that the Beach Boys used that had the little slider on it? Somebody help me out. I can't remember. But there you go. It's now available to order direct from Dubrec, should I say, the manufacturers, for just $99.95. There are retailers that are advertising it. For example, this is currently on Thomann, £111, which is a little bit more. But look at their shipping lead time on this. If you want one for Christmas, you better get in there now, or order directly from Dubrec. Kent, you expressed an interest in one of these. Are you still wanting one? Are you still lusting after one of these?
It's not actually for me. It's for Fiona.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, because she
she likes waving around her hands around things and having them wail.
Yeah, she expressed.
Not her hands.
She expressed an interest in theremins a while back, and I was going to sort of like just present her with it. So yeah, so. Yeah, because I mean, I got. See, the thing is, like that video. I mean, you know, it's obviously the music track over the top and everything, but you're going, yeah, but it isn't going to sound like that when you use that control, is it? It's all going to be sort of like, you know, sort of never quite there sort of thing. It's like, oh, frick, you know. But yeah, because theremins are notoriously difficult to play.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't like a theremin in the traditional style because it doesn't have the two antenna.
Yeah. So this is going to be more a noise based, muckabout machine. I don't think it's going to be that musical, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Not without probably quite a lot of practice. So, but yeah, and the price is good, and keep Fiona quiet, leave me alone. So that's cool.
Andrew, what do you think?
99 quid, and it does all that. It's getting you literally hands on. It's brilliant. 99 quid, hands on. I don't know whether or not I can't remember if it had a MIDI in, so you could MIDI clock the LFOs or whatever it is, the timings, or time it up to anything else. But I don't care because it's brilliant. It's just a brilliant, brilliant thing. And I think what Kent just said for buying it for Fiona, I might get this for Liz. But if she got it, she'd go, but so when I say I get it for Liz, I get it for me. I think it's brilliant. Why not?
Yeah, the build quality doesn't look particularly sturdy, but then I suppose it's 99. Yeah.
I don't care.
What they do. No, it's what they do. Built-in speaker powered by batteries. Play it anywhere. Annoy your mother, father, kids, whatever.
It looks like a sort of 60s, 70s transistor radio kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's probably about as robust. So don't drop it on.
Wasn't there was something else that they announced around the same time, like a drone thing? I can't remember what it was called now. Just having a look at their products, but it doesn't appear to be.
It's going to be a lot more fun than those virtual drumsticks I bought.
Yeah. It looks a lot more fun than the Stylophone drum machine, which I bought and was very disappointed with.
Yes.
You can't play a drum machine like with a stylus. It doesn't, especially when it's like that. Anyway, Debrec Stylophone Theremin, $99.95. Buy it from their store now, and annoy the neighbours copiously with one of those. Yes. Let's talk innovation.
Okay.
Because let's talk some innovation. Although I think we might be having a bit of a laugh with this one. So this is the news that Roland have announced a future design lab to fuel music technology information. The group's focus will be driving the next 50 years of music creation, performance, and enjoyment, according to the press release. They will focus on defining innovation, exploring the creative possibilities presented by emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, Web3, virtual and augmented reality, low latency wireless connectivity, and more. They recently established a relationship with Universal Music Group, with the resulting AI for music provenance initiatives that are being led by them, which is laudable. So, the company that doesn't chase analog ghosts is certainly, doubling down on that and saying we're looking absolutely to the future. And so they're setting up a special place to do that, a special lab. And what this smacked of for me was, look what Korg are doing at Korg Berlin. I think we should get in on maybe having a small division that we can throw a bit of money at, that come up with some bonkers ideas, and hopefully a few of them stick. It kind of smells of that in a way. And to be fair, the Korg Berlin team have come up with some very cool things, not many of which have come to market yet. And the thing that they showed at Superbooth this year, which was an advancement of it's this electromechanical synthesizer thing. I can't remember its name now. It didn't seem to have come on a huge amount over 12 months, and we fully expect to see the next iteration at next year's Superbooth. But are we now going to see Roland coming up with crazy bonkers ideas and then putting them out there and saying, what do you think of this, and getting some, or is this serious AI virtual reality technology driven R&D. I don't know. What do we think?
I have a concern about this.
Go on.
I'm just trying to work out the best way to express this. A lot of people have had lost their shit to an extent, quite rightly so, with Spotify for what they believe is Spotify's policy. This is not something I'm claiming. This is a view that has been expressed widely, that Spotify are using AI to take tracks and styles of music from artists that are on their platform to create new bands that don't exist, new music that doesn't exist, and recommend it to people, so they own all of the copyright. That's what's been claimed. I don't know if that's entirely the truth or not, but I wouldn't be entirely surprised. What concerns me about this is jumping in with AI at the point of music creation. I'm concerned that the way people make music and how their workflows for creating music, and all right the way through to them, releasing music, all of that can be templated using AI. I'm concerned that it's leading down a very dark path from which there are some grave dangers to do with ownership and copyright and what makes us as musicians. So I'm concerned about that. I can see there are opportunities. We've explored some of them. Korg have as well with their own VR synth making things. That's
yes.
kind of
Although that seems to have died a death, but
well, it was an interesting thing to do. The thing is, there has been a massive reaction in the markets and elsewhere to the use of AI. Lots of people talk about it. Very few really understand it, but it does represent a very clear and present potential threat and opportunity. I don't know which way this is going to go. I mean, they're getting into bed with Universal for some reason. I don't understand quite why I'm concerned about that, but it does concern me.
So that thing with Universal, although I don't know the ins and outs of it, what came out of that was this declaration that music creation should be by humans, and that AI is a tool, but it is not ultimately something that people want to use or should be used as the sole kind of creative core of stuff. And I'm all for useful AI that helps me achieve something more efficiently. Whether that's sampling an instrument and naming and arranging all of those samples so that I can create my sampled good or whatever it might be a lot quicker and save me all that hassle. Whereas I don't want it to make music with that sampled instrument. I just want to help me do the horrible stuff,
all the organization and the preparation.
AI should be helping us be more creative, not doing the creation so that we can do all the boring stuff. It should be the use of it, and that's a whole other debate. Roland just said that that's one of the things they'll be looking at, but also new web technologies, virtual and augmented reality stuff, low latency wireless, which is something they've kind of dropped the ball on, and have been overtaken by others in certain fields anyway. But I, as much as I applaud the endeavour, and that they're creating a specific department, shall we say?
Is this based in LA rather than Japan?
Well, the press release came from LA, but I think most people in the industry know that Roland US is the tail that wags the dog, even though they're a Japanese company. When it comes to the musical instrument division, Roland US, they are the people that make the most noise. So it doesn't say, I don't think, in that press release exactly where that is going to be. So it might be a multi-site thing, it might be something that happens in Hamamatsu, but it might be something that happens in LA. So that information isn't there. But I still don't understand why Roland are avoiding doing at least something to appease those people who are crying out for newer versions of the older stuff, because most of the manufacturers have dabbled in that. Yamaha did the reface stuff. Korg have done it, particularly with their software plugins and certain elements of their hardware. The forthcoming PS3300, and of course the ARP stuff as well. So why Roland really seem to dig their heels in and say we're absolutely not going to do that, except when it comes to the Roland Cloud. I don't know. I mean, people would, if Roland dropped a Jupiter 8, a hardware Jupiter 8 recreation with which was just a Jupiter 8, nothing too fancy, just a Jupiter 8, it would sell bucket loads regardless of the price. If they dropped an analog synthesizer like Arturia have done, and like Moog have done recently, and Oberheim and Sequential, if they dropped a pure Roland analog synthesizer, people would lose their collective minds over it, and it would sell, I'm sure of it. But they just seem to be hell-bent on just saying, nope, not going to do that. And there you go.
I'm not sure. We've got Kent. Go. You look like you had something to say there.
Sorry.
There's a flicker of light behind the eyes.
Well, yeah. No, I've been trying to look at this from different angles. Do you remember when there were musicians absolutely losing their shit when the sampler was invented?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right, and it caused, it's terrible, and all the rest of it. I mean, when Ty does a music score, he doesn't have to get up or away from his computer. But orchestras are still orchestras.
Mm-hmm.
And you wanted to say about the music on Spotify, it can be created by AI, and people are buying these new pop songs and everything like that. And not knowing that there is actually nobody on the other end of it at all. And you go, yeah, but we're old now. We're out of this. To be honest with you. No, honestly, because I don't buy music off Spotify. Because if you listen to the charts, it's all shit. And I'm not interested. And if an AI writes shit, I'm still not as interested, and I don't give a crap about it. So where AI works, fine. Where AI makes your life easier, yeah, I've got a robot downstairs that hoovers the front room every morning at 12:30. Cool, fine. I'm happy with AI. It means I don't have to hoover the front room every bloody day. So music is always changing. It's always evolving, and it's delivered in different ways over the years. Right, and it is evolved into different things, and it's gone different ways. When live music will start to have more value than it has today, because live music doesn't have a lot of value like it used to back, 40 years ago, so that people can actually go and see a band and see them perform and all the rest of it, and have interaction with the musicians themselves. When you're buying things off a list, because I heard that Spotify were going to be using the AI to target people when they download a particular tune or play a particular tune. The AI would then pump loads of other music, that kind of "you may also like this" kind of thing. And yes, I've listened to some of these AI tracks, where they've been recreated by, shall we say, machine learning, rather than AI is too much of a. It's not really what it is it?
Well, it's not intelligent, is it?
It's not. So, I mean, the art world will probably have to change because of it as well. But penultimately, as things move on, people who want to listen to music that is generated by an algorithm will quite happily carry on listening to music that's created by an algorithm. And people who don't want to will source their music elsewhere and just make sure that, if they go, right, I don't want to listen to music that's been generated by a computer, unless it's really good. Now you've got a whole different area to play in. So I don't think it's going to be. There'll be a transition period. There'll be things that get difficult for people in different areas, but eventually it will just work itself out, and people will have what they, will do what they want, have what they want. They know what they like, and it'll all be fine. Just like it was when the whole sampler thing came about, when the drum machine started to become the next greatest thing, and all the drummers are going, "Oh, we'll be out of work. Oh, we won't be able to, piss into a pint glass and have sex with women every night. What are we going to do? What are we going to do?" We can't keep in time like that. Well, you couldn't keep in time with anything, mate. You couldn't. You had trouble keeping in time with a calendar.
It didn't take long for drum machines to have a human factor, a human function built in to give.
And then Simmons came along and go, "No, you actually play these, but it's actually a drum machine sound." People go, "Yeah, I'll have some of that, mate." And then it evolved that way, and now you have people playing sort of like the next generation child of the drum machine, and it's a kit that they're playing on stage. So I think live music will become more valued, much more valued, and less taken for granted than it is these days. And has been for quite a while, and people will notice music more. There's so much of it, and a lot of it has been so plastic. It's ridiculous. Nothing's, it's been a while since I've heard a track that just reached out from the speaker and went. Have some of that, mate. You go, wow, that hasn't happened for donkeys. So
the thing is, a lot of these
let it go on.
A lot of these AI tools that are being trained on current, popular music, because that's what's popular. That's why they do it. And so, if we do have AI generated pop songs, they're going to be the people they're going to be putting out of work are the crappy pop musicians, or I say musicians. I use that term quite lightly sometimes. That are generating. The stuff that we hear nowadays, which is incredibly formulaic and box ticky and pretty bland.
Like it was in the 70s with disco music or any of that. Yeah, that wasn't formulaic. Yeah. Right.
Well, it wasn't as formulaic as it was these days.
Or the synthwave thing. Ding, 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 ding.
Oh well, the current synthwave. Well, I say the current synthwave thing. For the past 15 years, people have just been making music that has an essence of something that they probably didn't even know because they weren't born.
I don't think the formulaic thing worries me as much, because different. Each generation, successive generation has its things that it ties to a memorable event. Getting drunk with their mates, maybe their first kiss, maybe there's you kind of, that's what pop is. It's popular because people associate it with the time and the place and blah blah blah. That's not what concerns me. In fact, I'm not even sure what if you're kind of right. I'm not sure if AI could. That's why I said it could represent an opportunity as well as a threat. Mm. I think what's funny though is Roland. They need to do. I mean, they were the first of all the manufacturers to come up with an underlying design thing, which was Zencore, which allowed them to do everything in hardware and software and keep them pretty much pari passu. But what have they done with it? And here's the thing, you say that if they bought out a Jupiter 8 analog, again, people would lose their shit and they'd sell gazillions. I'm not sure they would. Here's why. The System 100 system, now if you want to get one, an original one, can't give us a price for a good system, complete System 100.
A full system with speakers in good condition. They normally fetch about anything between 8.5 and 10.
Right, 8.5 and 10. But you can build a limited system using the Behringer stuff, using that you can actually build a System 100 for a fraction of that. And it's not exactly it, but it sounds pretty close. They've not sold bazillions of those. That's the thing. It's not about the cost. It's also, I think you can do an awful lot of this stuff, and some people will want to have the originals. I'd love to have a System 100 personally, but I'd love a System 700 even more. But I've not seen anything come out from Roland for a long time now that's made me go, gotta have that. The last thing was the System 8, I think. That was the last time I looked at anything Roland and went, oh, that's interesting. I've not seen, and so they need to do something to take it up a gear somewhere, because they're kind of recycling everything over and over and over again at the moment. I'm not quite sure.
Well, I think we've got quite hung up on the AI aspect, because that's clearly the thing that everyone's talking about. But they are looking at other things, web technologies, low latency, connectivity, that kind of stuff. So, AI will be a part of it, I'm sure. But hopefully they'll invest enough time in all the other stuff, and I'm sure they'll soon discover what works and what doesn't, what sells and what doesn't. Yeah, it's interesting stuff. But
I do hope so.
Yeah, we look forward to what they come up with.
When you look at what everyone else is doing, the Arturias of this world, and all the bonkers people doing medieval freaking.
Exactly.
I mean,
if anything, teenage engineers prove that there's still ingenuity in there for us humans to work with. And talking of ingenuity, a fine segue, no less.
Okay.
There is something quite interesting and ingenious that's popped up on Kickstarter, and it's a piece of software. And here's a little video introduction.
Introducing Sound Blocks, a playground for making music. Simply place a block anywhere, connect, and play. Let's check out some of the melodic composition features. The number of dots on a block represents the scale degree. And you can also play multiple sequences simultaneously. You can spice up your sequence using control blocks.
I think we'll leave that there. Oh, hang on, Andy's just mute his microphone there. So, this is called Sound Blocks, and it's described as a playground for making music. It's currently on Kickstarter. They're looking for a in the UK. I don't know actually, let me just do that conversion. They're looking for a $10,000 goal, and they've gone just over half that. There's about 19 days to go. And this is going to be an application for Windows and Mac at the moment. There was one of the questions on the page was, is this going to be an iOS thing? Because this looks like perfect sort of thing for iOS. And that is planned down the line, but apparently they can't do it at launch because of the way that Apple gatekeep various things. So they're going to get the Windows and the Mac version off the ground to start with, and then come up with an iOS version later on, which I think will do really well. So it's essentially a music creation tool, or it's a music composition app, as they call it. that uses this very simple, easy on the eye block control interface with different blocks for sounds, different blocks for modifiers, randomization, and all that kind of stuff. And it literally is just a drag and drop. Pick your tool, drop it into the grid, and away you go. To back this thing is very, very easy, because at the moment the super early bird is $15. So if you're really interested in this, you can get it for 50% off, because that's all it's going to be. It's about $30 to buy this. So it's $15. It's about £12. And there are various packages. You can gift copies to friends and so on and so forth. So I don't know. This is not my particular. This is not the way I like to compose. Although I can imagine that if I had this on a portable device, that this could be a nice way to come up with some ideas and then take them back and work on them later on. But what do you think, Kent? Because you're the only person that's left here, so I've got to come to you first.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get it. I get it. But it's like a lot of these things where it looks very easy and very straightforward, but you have to learn what all those particular blocks do and mean and all the rest of it. It's yeah, probably not for me, but yeah, it's a different way, or is it? How different is that? I'm sure I've seen something that was like that before.
Well, many years ago, there was this thing called Reactable or Reactable or whatever, and I remember seeing Björk using it.
Yeah,
and it was different blocks, actual physical blocks. That you put onto a table, and it would then modify and affect the sound. Then they did an iOS version of it as well, which was quite interesting.
Yeah.
It's not a completely new concept, but it looks like an interesting one. It looks pretty simple and straightforward.
It's it's a good price and all the rest of it. So yeah, there's nothing to hate about it at all.
No,
it's fine.
The only downside I can see of it is, let me just remove him from here because he's getting in the way. The only thing about it that kind of puts me off is it doesn't necessarily teach anything. So I'm imagining a lot of young people will be using this, and it will be great because it will really engage them, but it doesn't necessarily teach them anything more. But then, is that what it's for? I don't know. Is it an ideas machine? Is it something that you can say, well, I'm on this plane ride here or train ride there, and I've got an hour or two, and I just want to sort of mess around and noodle without having to take a keyboard with me and all of that gubbins. I've just got this app that I can run on my laptop, or hopefully in the future an iOS device, and just come up with ideas. It would be interesting to know that once you've created your thing, I'm just scanning through as I'm talking about this, because normally I'll say this, I wonder if we can do this, and then I read that it says, oh yeah, absolutely, we can do this. It would be nice if the resulting piece that you come up with, whether it's a 4-bar loop or something a little bit more elaborate, I wonder if it can export that as MIDI data or audio data, even just so you can just take an audio loop and then just drop it in.
Traditionally, these sort of softwares don't.
No.
As a rule, do they?
Some do, some don't. I mean, like GarageBand, yes, you can.
Yeah.
Everything in there you can export as MIDI, and if you've also got Logic, then you can export it into Logic and then carry on from there. But
yeah, I mean, if you're getting into the realms of being able to transmit what it's doing via Bluetooth to MIDI or whatever, and set it up with others, it's interconnectivity. At the moment, it looks very secular.
It does look very,
It looks very closed system at the moment. So it'd be interesting to see how open system it actually is.
Yeah. I mean, according to this, if they hit their stretch goals, they will be able to put more advanced things in. So advanced sample controls, and I think this answers a question that somebody mention, where are we? Wookie says, does it only use its own sounds? I think so. I think it's completely sample based. So in that case, it is kind of restrictive. So if they meet $20,000 goal, they'll be able to spend time on coding advanced sample controls, 30,000 advanced control blocks. So there'll be more stuff that you can do and manipulate. 40,000, then they're looking at the ability to build and import your own samples through custom sample packs. So at the moment, the 10 grand is let's get this thing off the ground, and if we can get more money, then we'll add more features. 50,000, they're talking about more content and refinements, and as you can see there, effects. So that'll be interesting,
but it's all very inward looking.
It's its own little sandbox, isn't it? So
yeah.
But that's fine, and maybe maybe that if there's the ability. I mean, ultimately, you can just play the audio into another device, and stick it into a DAW and use it as an audio loop. But it would be nice if you could take the MIDI data as well. And have it maybe even have it use MIDI to control external things as well, but I think we're getting way ahead of what the developers are able to do at this moment in time, so it'll be interesting to see if they do come up with anything along those lines. But I think it looks nice, and that, I think the methodology and the way it works is pretty simple, doesn't overcomplicate anything, and I think it could be a great creative tool, and also a tool that will help maybe younger people just and for at full price $30 is nothing for a little music app nowadays, and if it ends up on mobile, then it'll probably only be 15 or something. So I would imagine if I tried using it, I'd be punching myself in the groin after about 5 or 6 minutes of using it. But, everybody's wired differently. Some people will just really take to it. Yeah. And do some great stuff with it, So, yeah, cool. Yeah. Not for me, I don't think. No. It's because I'm, so old school. But yeah, it looked interesting. It was colourful, and I think it's actually a good way of teaching kids timing as well, because you can physically see the structure as well. So even as a learning tool, it has possibilities in that neck of the woods as well. Yeah. So it's interesting stuff.
We will let it live. You may pass.
So if you want to. If you want to donate to this, then the Kickstarter, I think the link's already been put in the chat. I'm sure the guys will put it there again. The developer's name is Nazaray, Nazaray. The application is called Soundblocks. It's on Kickstarter. They're about halfway through their goal. They've still got 19 days to go, so plenty of time to get in there. Thanks, Ben, for putting that in there. And we'll see. We'll come back in about 3 weeks and see if it made it, and where we go from there. Talking of other Kickstarters, let me just do this while I do this. There was a new message from Kim Bjorn for backers of the Minimoog book. Let's see if we can get this onto the screen. So here we go. They're at the printers.
Wee-hee.
So I believe, if I'm sure Mike will correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe these are going to be the the pre-production paperback versions that are being printed at the moment before they go into full hardback printing. And I'm sure Mike will be jumping in right now to either correct me or praise me for my predictive abilities. But yes, there's Kim at the printing press with the machines, and you see the pages, and look at that, lots of lovely pages.
Ooh, look at that.
But what it means is the book is, I guess the book is complete in terms of its construction and writing and the gathering of images and stuff. There is a little video. I think I switched flicked the audio on. Let's see if this plays.
So it's very noisy here at the printers, but I want to show you the first prints that came out this morning. Obviously it's the cover, and you've seen some of it already, but let's see if we can change the camera here. Again, I have to do like this. So these are the first test prints, and then we adjusted the yellow color a bit, so that the color on the cover is more deep and a little bit more glowy, and you can see it maybe here. Of course you'll see it in the finished books. It looks awesome. And the printer is right now changing the plates for the dust jacket for the backers. So if you're a backer and you're listening to this, it's coming out of the machine. They're adjusting some stuff. But you can see it here. You can see how they adjust the colors via all this machinery, the computers, obviously, and it's looking really good. And the guys are really excited about this. Printing this project, and I'm really excited to see it coming out of the print machine. And it's all because of you backers out there, and it's because of all you people supporting us, and we're really proud of this project, and we're really relieved that we are now at a stage where we're actually printing this book after 2 years work and after Joe's more than 12 years of work. Stay tuned for more.
There we go. So it's on, boys and girls. It's being printed. The paperback versions, I believe Kim's going to have some at NobCon in a few weeks' time for you to look at. So if you're going to Chicago town, go and check that out. And that should be with us probably within a couple of months or so. So congratulations to the team. And shall we give Mike a heart attack? Because I bet he hasn't got your version of the Minimoog in the book that you showed us at the beginning of the show.
I wouldn't have thought so. But
no. Apparently they're going straight to hardback. They're not doing the paperbacks.
Oh.
Kim lied to me. Go on. Show us that Minimoog again. That odd, rare Minimoog.
I don't know how well you can see it now. It's quite dark in here.
And let me just bring you full screen.
What, this rack one?
That rack-mounted Minimoog. Look at that there. Bet that's not in the book.
There's probably a good reason why it isn't, to be honest with you.
Frankenmoog.
Yes.
Or Frankenmoog, sorry.
She's a worker. I mean, she's a happy little bunny. I've just done, lots of breakouts on the back so I can access different parts of the Mini from the modular and the sequencers and things. So I was bored last night, and I just went, okay, I'll start adding some connections to it. So
Mike's not impressed. Apparently he has Keith Emerson's Split Mini. It's way more cool.
Well, we had this conversation about various things as well. It's a shame they didn't make the book, actually.
Yeah,
that would have been pretty cool.
That can be for volume 2.
Hey,
yeah. Talking of which, Metlay, pull your finger out. Synth Gems Volume 2 needs doing.
Yeah,
I expect your homework to be handed in soon for checking.
I got some photos for you, mate. Don't you worry.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's
lots of material for that one.
I'm very excited to see the book and read through it, because I know it's going to be fantastic. So very, very much looking forward to
finally a definitive account.
Indeed.
Instead of lots of sort of like, I don't know how much of that is folklore. Proper definitive account.
Yes,
last.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's like all the crap I heard about that vocoder over the years.
Yes. Yeah.
So
it's the same with anything.
We have to go out and sort of like threaten people, do we? Baseball bats and 7 irons.
Traffic. Absolutely.
By the book, right?
Absolutely.
Otherwise you'll regret it.
We've got 19 minutes left, and we have...
Shall I do a dance?
Yeah, I think you might have to, or do something. Andrew's gone because I think he's busy with his clients. Shall we? I'll tell you what. Let's remind people that they can view us now on TikTok, because we now have our own TikTok channel. Why not? You know,
we is down with the kids, isn't it?
Yeah, we're absolutely down with the kids. Well, we're not really, because so I was inspired by our friend Ian Cole, who's currently up in Edinburgh doing reviews of fringe shows. Excuse me. And he said, but I've been putting some of these on TikTok and getting hundreds and thousands of views. And I said, okay, well, I'll give it a go. You know, we've just started producing these little videos called shorts. So they're perfect. They're vertical format. They'll go on there nicely. And as you can see, I did this on Tuesday, and since Tuesday we have 1 follower and 1 like on our channel, and that's Ian. I know that's Ian. And as you can see, our most popular video has had 54 views, which is a fraction of what it's got on YouTube. But you know, there you go. So it is what it is. But if you are a TikToker and you partake on TikTok, give us a follow, give us a like. It would just be nice.
Do you know what,
Makes
Robbie?
us feel a bit wanted. Go on.
I really fancy a Turkish delight now. I can't figure out why.
I know. It's that
Isn't it
colour,
just?
isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
it
that
is.
sort of reddy purple.
Mate, I really, really want a Turkish delight now.
But what you'll find on TikTok is all of these little short videos that I did half a dozen on the POLYBRUTE 12, and then of course we must tell everyone about our new ProSynth Network short video, which we're trying to get as many out as possible. It's available ad-free for our Patreons, but it's also available on YouTube as well, where I'm afraid that unless you have the ad-free version of YouTube, you will still get ads. But we've also got this, which is Andrew's done 3 videos in total on the Sonicware ELZ1 Play, and the first one is his little improvisation, little ambient loop that he created on there. So that's up to view on the YouTube channel and here as well, on Patreon. There's going to be another video, I believe it's going to go up tomorrow, which is Andy sitting in his backyard on his swing seat with the ELZ1 on his lap, powered by batteries, just using the speakers, just having a little noodle. So if you want to see an ELZ1 play on Andrew's considerable thighs, that's where you want to come and watch it tomorrow. And there is also a much longer unboxing first impressions video, which we'll be putting up again over the weekend. But we're going to make that one exclusive to our Patreon subscribers and YouTube members for a week or so, and then we'll make that one public for everyone else. But we need to look after our subscribers, so we're going to give them a free preview of this for a couple of weeks, and then we'll release it into the wild. But there's going to be more stuff coming, because obviously, let me just do that. This came into the studio yesterday. We can make that full screen, I think. There we go. The MatrixBrute Noir. Turn the light on. There we go. So the MatrixBrute Noir arrived, and so I'm just getting my head around that. But having played around with the POLYBRUTEs and the Mini-Brutes, it's all very familiar straight away. So we'll be doing stuff. You can see the back of my head. Look, there you go. Hello, in the corner. So that's that. So we'll be having some of that. I also want to do the Kodamo Mask 1 pretty soon, because that seems to have sort of drifted out of people's consciousness, and it needs not to do that.
Including yours.
Well, it's because I've had to demote it off the shelves. But in other news, not yesterday, Wednesday, I ordered all the new furniture that I need to rearrange the studio. So I've got my vertical shelving unit coming, so that'll be an 8 or 9 shelf, depending on how many I can fit in there without it falling over. That'll be a stack over there. My 28U rack case or rack unit is coming, so I'll be able to put all my rack stuff into a proper thing, and then just clear some stuff out. So the Fairlight that's behind me at the moment over there, because it's not working and won't be for some while, I'm just going to move it out and put it into storage. So then I'll be able to put the DX1 under there on its thing, and just generally make a bit of room in here, because every time something turns up, and things turn up on a fairly regular basis, there's just nowhere for it to go. So that's going to be happening. Well, so the furniture will arrive next week, and then I shall be doing something that towards the end of the month. So, and we'll be able to then do, hopefully, more of these videos, because I'll have like a special like zone in the middle of the room. That's the idea, is to have a little zone where the cameras can just stay permanently fixed, and I can just whip a synth out, put it on the desk, do a little thing, and then whip it back in again, so to speak. Oh, didn't take that out of there. There we go. Get rid of that. Big thank you to Synchrotron. That's a fantastic donation, so thank you ever so much. Don't forget, Andy, aka Synchrotron, is streaming, I believe, tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. UK time. He does some wonderful modular stroke guitar-y type drone style stuff. So there's that. So thank you for your donation. That is greatly appreciated. Thank you also to the wonderful Jamie Morden, who has got a Muse. So fingers crossed we'll start to see some Moog Muse patch banks. Also wants to know, in exchange for his wonderful donation, what are your thoughts on the Montage M now after some time having it?
Yeah, I love it.
There you
I
go.
love it. Yeah,
short and sweet.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It does so much. It's ridiculous. There's a few there's a few stupid things on the forums. I'm worried about them. Where the guy goes, he says, my pedal it works in reverse, and somebody put, what you do, you should plug it in the back and turn the Montage M off, then you turn it on again, and it reconfigures itself to be the other polarity. I can confirm, horse shit.
There you go. You heard it from the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
Big thanks to John Simpson, who has joined our YouTube membership, which anyone can do. It's a minimum to $2 a month, and you'll get all the exclusives that our Patreoners get as well. So we just wanted to provide an option. Thank you also to Wagyu for his couple of chuffs, and of course that refers back to our medieval teenage engineering bit at the beginning of the show. Clement Clotar says, as we're all Sonicware fans, he's got a check from ASCAP, so he's made some money from music. That's good. It's always good to hear. Texture Lab looks like a great present from me to me. It is. It's very good, although you might want to check out Ambient Zero as well, because it's kind of a similar thing, whereas Texture Lab is more sample based. Ambient Zero has a kind of sample and synthesis kind of thing going on, but yeah, absolutely, all the live-ins are very good, and as each one has progressed, they have become, shall we say, simpler to use. They've refined the workflow somewhat. You got your Ambient Zero. Have you had a chance to play with it yet?
Like hell.
Okay.
Yeah, it's over there. It's still on that. I'm going to turn off after 40 minutes, sort of thing. That it does. Okay. And
you can change that.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's like I was asking you about did you turn the speaker off? You know, so.
He's back. Yes. It sounds brilliant. It really does.
I must admit, it seems to be a bit of a giggle, that one.
Yeah.
I must admit. It's everything.
The Ambient Zero.
Oh, yeah, I've got mine. I've got to open it up and play with it.
Yeah, I really liked it, and last week I was actually creating stuff with it, and it was just so simple to start playing these little loops in, and then just adding and layering, and then just using the effects. It was very nice. It's a very easy thing to get.
With the sun out over the weekend, I can plug it in the garden under the shade of an umbrella, both of them, and see if I can sync them up and do something between the pair of them. It'd be kind of fun.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's see what else we've got here. Synchrotron, we've already done that. Oh yeah, we'll mention the pub in just a moment, so don't worry, we're not sidestepping it. thank you, Dr. Mike, who's saying thank you to everyone who supported the book. Please spread the word. You can still buy it now, so that's there. And thank you to our Aussie friend down under for 10 hours.
Sorry, he's down under.
Thank you. That's it. Say down there. Thank you for that. We've done him. We don't want to give him any more exposure than he needs. So yeah, you mentioned at the top of the show pub. We've got top of the show pub. You mentioned at the top of the show about the pub. Yeah. And we've had some people asking questions. No more pub? Can we have some more info? What's the news about the pub? I keep seeing mentioned in the chat. Can you guys elaborate on the no pub bombshell before? So, as any regular watcher of this show knows, our Kent does this little social gathering, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week, sometimes not. And Kent mentioned at the beginning of the show that the pub that happened on Tuesday is likely to be, for some time at least anyway, the last pub. Did you want to elaborate on that at all, or just shut these people up asking questions?
Certain persons nearby feel that the pubs have been monopolising me considerably, and they are fed up watching shit on television on their own. So,
in other words, you need to spend some quality time. And I get the same as well. I get the same.
Yeah.
So
the thing is,
I fully understand.
She's asked me to knock it on the head. But personally, I think the pub isn't something I own. The pub is something that can just happen.
Yeah.
Anybody can fire up their web-based thingy and do it.
Yeah.
So,
and maybe that's what this is. This is what we should do, is encourage people. Look, the great thing about it, and I have to take my hat off to you, is that you started something that just seemed like a throwaway little thing where people could just get into a room and talk.
Yeah.
And the result of that is that we've all made lots of good friends, many people that we've met simply online, but also many people that we've met in the real world.
Yeah.
And you've been the catalyst for that. And so it's you've done you've made our community just a little bit more than just people talking about synths, because people come on the pub and they talk about everything.
Well,
and we have people from all over the world, from the US, from Canada, from Australia, from the UK, from Europe. Have we had anyone from Africa? I'm not sure. But we've had people from lots and lots of places.
Well, apparently there's lots of people that listen in, never say anything in the chat or anything, but just
and lots of people watch after the fact as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So if somebody else wants to fire up the pubs, please do. I think even if I can come on as somebody who comes in and go hi, but because I kind of feel committed to stay from the beginning to the end, and sometimes they can run 7 or 8 hours.
They can go long, yeah.
Yeah, they can go a long time, and So Siri's all right. Siri is normally up here with me, so she's not missing me at all.
Maybe that's the thing. The fact is, you feel obligated to stay in for the whole length of time. So maybe I was just thinking about setting up a StreamYard thing where you could just have, I don't know, anything up to 10 people or 5 people or whatever it is nominated as people who can run the pub, so that people can drop out and it can go for as long as it needs to without someone having to commit the whole of that work.
You could set up, if you had a few people, you could set up a nice little rota and say, if people want to run pubs on these days, and you set them up as admins, and they can just jump into StreamYard and use the platform that you've already got, and set so you don't have to worry about doing anything that somebody else, another landlord can come in and run the show, or they can just do it on their own, because StreamYard, there is a free option, although you are limited in certain.
Well, this is the thing. Ideally, it's somebody who's got a paid subscription, because that way you can have up to 10 people come in, and we've often got up to about 8 or so, because I think you can only have about
10.
Yeah,
with the paid version, it's 10.
Free, it's 3 maybe, or 4.
Hang on, where are we? This one? No, this one.
Yeah, I tell you what, we do have conversations about, but it's the conversations we normally have is I'm sitting there going, "Why are you watching this shit? This is awful."
That's the same conversation I have with Liz.
Yeah, well, she'll watch some absolute dross. So we'll see how it.
Indeed, we'll see.
We're talking about it tomorrow, and who knows what comes out of it.
Let's have a hiatus.
Yeah.
Step back.
See what's all about.
Yeah, indeed. But ultimately, everyone needs to be happy, and so there you go. And we're still here every Friday. And people have told me on occasion that this place sometimes descends into a pub, which we try. I really do try and avoid. But every now and again, little things drop in. But look,
it's because we're the same people.
It's
going to happen.
It is. Listen, we've actually managed to squeeze this all the way through to the end, which is a bonus. I just also want to say a massive thank you to my local friend Kissing the Machine for his £10. He's also a member as well. Great show as always. Fair play, Kent. Love the pubs. Thank you. So thank you very much indeed for that. All of the donations received today, we are super, super grateful for, and say it all goes to keep the show on the road and keep us doing what we're doing every Friday night, and of course now lots of other things happening in between. So as I said, don't miss tomorrow. We'll have the other one of Andrew's ELZ1 play demos, where, as I said, he's resting it on his lap, swinging in his swing chair, playing a little tune through the speakers, and also there'll be an unboxing video that will come. It'll be an exclusive on YouTube members and Patreon members for a while, and then we'll make that publicly available for everybody else. Don't forget Andy Synchrotron 10 o'clock tomorrow morning for his weekly drone stream, which is always most enjoyable. That's 10 a.m. UK time. Don't forget Ranzi is on at 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, so join him there. And I'm back into the football conflict because Ranzi starts at 2 and the football season kicks off tomorrow. So at 3 o'clock I have Ranzi in my left ear and I have the football commentary in my right ear. And so my brain goes a bit for a little while.
Synchrotron is definitely tomorrow, yeah?
I believe so, yes. He's not told me otherwise. Normally he's very rapid, and he's just actually said thank you. So because I know that Andy's been doing some Sunday bits and bobs because he wasn't able to do Saturday.
Sunday last week, wasn't it?
Yeah. So
because it was about half.
There you go.
About half 10 on game.
Indeed.
I don't think there's one on.
Yes. No. He says yes.
Good.
Then yes, and then thrice yes. So that's
a yes then.
I'm not sure. Yes, is it?
I think it was a yes. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Perhaps anyway.
I give it 2 weeks before Fiona kicks him back upstairs. 3 tops.
Yeah, I'll just make our life hell. Don't worry.
I think maybe you will. No.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Indeed. Right. I'm going to call it a night because I need to go and use the little boys' room and then drink a glass of wine or 3 whilst watching a movie with my missus, so I keep her happy. So anyway, gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. Thanks for putting the extra effort in today, Andrew, for coming at us through your studio, and thanks to you, Kent, as always. We will speak soon.
Indeed.
And thank you to everyone that has watched. If you're watching live or if you're watching on catch up, thank you ever so much for joining us. We really do appreciate the fact that you come in, week out, and put up with us for a couple of hours talking rubbish about synthesizers, but hopefully you enjoy it. Make sure you hit the like button and click the subscribe button and the bell and all of that shenanigans, and we will see you same time, same place next week for another couple of hours of testiculation about synthesizers. Goodbye, everyone. See you soon.
Bye.
Ta-da.
Bye.